G'day, History Gamers. This is not Steve from historygamer.com, it's Greg from Down Under, and that joke's getting pretty old, so I probably won't do it again, if you're lucky. This is actually the third time I've started recording this. I'd like you to know I'm a competent professional with dogs barking in the background and me stumbling over words, so who cares? This is it. This is the real one. First up, I just wanted to note someone had commented in the Players Lounge that they were astonished at Sander Filius's score with Russia in the last game for Group A of 7 points. Right here, you can see it. He's kept all his territory and he's managed to get into Romania and Norway and Sweden for that whole 7 points. It is a very high score and no one got higher. But I wonder if he realized that we've actually had that happen before. In Group B, in Game 2, at the end of Game 2, John McGuinness, playing Russia, also scored 7 points. As we can see from here. Now, he also had Norway and he also had Romania, but he invaded into Munich in Germany as well. And that's how he scored his 7. So both of those players did very well in those rounds with Russia. We'll have to see how Russia goes in the future. What we're mainly here for today, though, is to fill out the final 7. Now, Steve had laid out the final 7 as he saw them by the scores that we had. Eddie Zucchini, A1 Bomber, Sander Filius, Diplo Strats, Theodore Boson, Christian Conroy and John McGuinness. I'm glad to see both John McGuinness and Sander in there with their excellent Russia scores. However, when we reviewed over the game, we found that there was a slight error that John McGuinness had caught one of the territories off of Christian Conroy, which meant that their 2 scores were reversed. Which is fine, they both get in. But unfortunately, there was the case that Christian Conroy was now equal with Calvin Hobbs-Leica 2, and we've got to resolve that. And there's no way to tell them apart because they've had the same scores all the way along, so there's no way to separate them. So everyone has agreed to simply separate by a dice roll or a coin toss. We've just got to get it heads or tails. It'll go one way or the other. So I'm going to do a coin toss right now in front of you. Now, of course, it's going to happen now. I said it was going to be live, but I'm never streamed before, so I didn't want to do it now. So we're going to do it here. And this one, lovely United States $quarter there, which I can just press flip. And, well, that's tails. Puerto Rico on it. Flip it again. Heads. Completely random. Just turns up 50-50. You never know what it's going to turn up. So, I've just done a few times so you can just see it's all there random. So, I'm going to flip it one more time. If it comes up heads, then Christian Conroy is in. If it comes up tails, and Calvin Hobbs-Leica 2 is in. Drum roll, please. Ready? Here we go. It's heads. Christian Conroy is in. I'm sorry, Calvin Hobbs-Leica 2, but that was just a straight one up of how it went. Christian Conroy is in. So now we need to just update the final 7 spreadsheet. Now I've already put everyone else in. I'm sorry. I know how exciting it is for you to watch me filling out a spreadsheet, but I just wasn't sure that your hearts could stand the excitement, so I've just left the last one. So here we go. Christian Conroy is now going... Sorry, Chris. Sorry. Is now going to be placed in that last position. And in all the positions, playing England in Game 4, Turkey in Game 5, Germany in Game 6, and Austria in Game 7. Now, Steve had previously arranged the players to come out with these countries, aiming to have everyone having, in the whole 7 games of the tournament, having played each nation once. Unfortunately, because we were drawing from 2 groups, there was overlap and couldn't be done perfectly. So we've actually ended up with exactly the same as his initial layout. I've got them around the other way, but I've got them with the same countries. So A1 Bomber and Sanderfilius and Diplostrats and Theodore Boson and Christian Condre will all play one country that they have played before, or have played in this final part of it. But otherwise, it's pretty well spread out, and so we'll really see how it goes. Now, the other thing with the schedule is, this is the schedule that we have, and we will continue with it. We're happy to do that. Now, for the last 4 games, every game has 4 rounds, 4 phases, plus the build phase. So we'll have 5 turns on a week. For the Monday and the Tuesday with the builds, as we have been doing with the earlier rounds, just simply put them in as you'll move from wherever to wherever, and I'll know it's your build. But with this more advanced one, we want to keep the builds here separate, as a separate order for the Thursday. Now you'll be using the same forms that you have. The only thing that we're changing is the deadline time. I've suggested in the Players Lounge, because I'm in Australia and trying to get it to a time I can work with, that hopefully does not mess up everyone else in the world too much. I've gone with 5 a.m. GMT or UT, Greenwich Mean Time or Universal Time. So that's 4.5 hours earlier than it was previously. It will be 5 a.m. every day will be the deadline at GMT of those times. Now that means for me that the deadline appears for me Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. because I'm ahead of GMT. And that will mean that I can, on those days when I am at home and able to work on it immediately, I'll be able to get the results out probably within the next hour, at most 2. And so then you've got the rest of that time there. It also allows me on those few days when I'm not home by 4, I'm pretty certain that I can get it out by 8. So you'll have the results on those couple of days, probably Wednesday, Thursdays, a little bit later, but within 4 hours of the deadline. So our first turn then is going to be on Monday, this coming Monday, the 5th of November. And the deadline will be 5 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. It'll be a bit later than that if you're east of that, and a bit earlier if you're west of that, which will mean that some people will be submitting it the night before. If I find that all the results will come in earlier and I've got the free time, then I might even get it done earlier, which will give you more time for diplomacy. Anyway, that's what we're settling on. So, going back to the spreadsheet then here, our first game of the finals, game 4, we have John McGuinness with Austria, Christian Condre with England, Eddie Zucchini with France, Theodore Boson with Germany, Sanderfilius with Italy, A1 Bomber with Russia, and Diplostrats with Turkey. With the full 1900 turn, same as all the rest, just a single piece which you can place on one of your supply points and then move, but not into another country. You can move it to sea if it's fleet, but otherwise you're restricted to your own territory. And that's it. If there's any questions, please leave them below or mention them in the Players Lounge. If I have changed the rules somewhere that I have overlooked, let me know and we'll adjust it in the Players Lounge. Or I'll put a comment on this video. Otherwise, 5 a.m, 5th of November, GMT. That's our deadline for the first turn. Let's go.